Today I will be teaching you about the legend of the Northland. Do you know who is the legend?
Yes, sir.
Who is the legend? Old traditional story which cannot be proven. Okay. So today we will be discussing a story about of Northland. Okay. So in this poem you will find Saint Peter who was roaming throughout the world and he reached this old lady's house. But when he reached there, what happened? That the old lady denied him help, denied him any sort of help in the form of food. So ultimately what happened that the Saint Peter got angered and in angry she transformed the old lady into a bird. Okay, which type of bird? Woodpecker. Okay, do you know woodpecker?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the old lady was transformed into a woodpecker. Because of the wrath, because of the anger of Saint Peter. Okay, and what happened? The old lady got transformed into woodpecker and she spent whole her life by pecking wood, by boring wood. You know the meaning of boring?
Yes, sir.
What is the meaning of boring?
Digging.
Digging, yes, good. By digging the trees, she spent her whole life. And this became the legend. This story became famous among the children of Northland. Okay, so and many children claims that they have seen this woodpecker in the forest. Okay, so let's start the poem. Away, away in the Northland, where the hours of the day are few. तो बहुत दूर Northland में where the day are short. Okay. And the nights are long in winter and the nights are very long due to the winter period. Okay, they cannot sleep then through. And what happens that due to the long tenure of the night, the people does not sleep the entire night. They work also and they sleep also. Where they harness the swift reindeer to the sledges when it snows. And the children look like bear's cubs in their funny furry clothes. And what happens there? What happens?
They just look like a bear cub.
Yes, the people there use reindeers. Okay, reindeers are a special type of deers found in the cold areas, which is used to draw sledges. You know sledges? Sledges used by Santa Claus. Okay. And the children there look like bear cubs. Bear cubs, okay? The children look like the bear cubs. Because they wear funny clothes, winter clothes, which are made of fur, okay? They tell them a curious story. I don't believe this true. And these children are told a curious story which the author don't believe is true, okay? Who tells them this story? No, the author doesn't tell. The elders, the peoples, yes. And yet you may learn a lesson if I tell that tale to you. Okay? And the author is willing to say the lesson to the readers. That if I tell the lesson, you will learn a lesson. Okay? Here the word, if I tell the tale to you, what is the meaning of tale?
Story.
Okay, story. Have you heard the name fairy tale? Which kind of story is it? Magical story. Fairy tale.
Fantasy.
Fantasy. Have you ever read? Can you name some magical story?
Cinderella.
Cinderella. Very good. And?
Beauty and the Beast.
Huh?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and
and the Beast. Okay.
England. Snow White.
Snow White. Tangland. So many stories you have read, okay? Fairy tale which are magical in nature. So this story is also some sort of magical in nature, okay? Once when the good Saint Peter lived in the world below and walked about it, preaching just as he did, So what happened? Once upon a time, the good Saint Peter was preaching his messages in the world. He was traveling the world and he was roaming the world. Okay? And what happened? He came to the door of a cottage in traveling around the world. So, upon traveling from one place to another, he ultimately came to a cottage. Do you know what is cottage?
Yes, sir.
What is cottage?
Wooden house.
Small hut, small sort of house, where a little woman was making cakes and baking them on the hearth. And the little woman, the owner of the house, was making cake in that house. Do you know cake?
Yes, sir.
How cakes are made? By baking, by burning it, or by keeping it in hot steam. Right? And baking them on the hearth. What is the meaning of hearth? H-E-R-T-H. Hearth is chula. Okay, some sort of place where cakes are baked. Okay, some place, or you can say hot place. Okay, where cakes are baked. Where cakes are baked. Okay. So this lady was baking the cake, and what happened? In her door, the Saint Peter arrived. Okay, please give me something. Okay, and being faint with fasting, for the day was almost done, he asked her for her store of cakes to give him a single one. So Saint Peter got exhausted by traveling around the world, and he got tired. Okay, and he got hungry also. So he asked for a cake. Please, old lady, give me one cake from your store. You have plenty of cakes. Please give me one cake.
One cake.
So she made a very little cake, but as it baking lay, she looked at it and thought it seemed too large to give away. So, upon the request of the Saint Peter, what happened? The old lady started making a cake. But when she made a cake, what happened? What happened? That the cake became large. Okay? And she thought that I cannot give this much big cake, this much good cake to the Saint Peter. He doesn't deserve it. Therefore, she needed another. So what happened? The old lady put away the thought of giving that cake, and she took out another dough, okay, and still a smaller one, but it looked, when she turned it over, as large as the first had done. But when she baked the second one, what happened? That it became as large as the first one. Then she took a tiny scrap of dough and rolled it flat and baked it thin as a wafer. But she couldn't part with that. Then what happened? That she took a tiny amount of dough. You know dough? What is dough? Huh? Yes. Dough. What is dough? Say. Flour. Flour. Okay. Flour is needed. Okay. And roll it flat. Then see what? Roll it. She started processing it. Okay. And make it flat. And baked it thin as a wafer, but she could not part with that. So third time, what she did? She took small amount of dough and rolled it and made a thin cake this time. Okay, thin as wafer. What is wafer? wafer, thin biscuit.
Like
Okay.
biscuit.
But she couldn't part with that. But she wasn't happy with that also. She was thinking this thin cake also this old lady doesn't deserve. Okay. Then good Saint Peter grew angry. What happened? The Saint Peter grew angry. And why he grew angry?
Because the lady.
Because
The lady was.
because the lady was not willing to give him food.
Yes.
Okay. For he was hungry and faint because he was hungry as well as he was becoming weak. Okay? And surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. And what happened? The saint became angered by the old lady's action. And he said, "You are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter and fire to keep you warm." And the Saint Peter became angry and said, "You don't deserve to be human. Hannah? You don't deserve to be human because you are getting free food, free fire, and free shelter. Okay? You don't have human quality. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Here fire means the warmth which she gets inside her house. Okay? You also use fire inside your house?
Yes, sir.
Which type of fire you use for keeping warm in winter?
Heater.
Heater. What else?
Bukhari.
Bukhari. Okay. So the like that, Saint Peter thinks that this old lady doesn't deserve fire also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. So Saint Peter said, okay, from now onwards I will transform you into a bird, and you have to get food. You will have to be happy with the scanty food. What is the scanty food?
Less food.
Less food. Okay, small amount of food.
Which birds used to eat?
Scanty food means less amount of food, okay, or meager amount of food. Do you know meager? What is meager? You know this word meager? Meager amount of food. What is meager? Meager is small in quantity and bad in quality. Okay, some things are there which may be small in quantity, but its quality can be high. Okay, but when something is bigger, okay, means it is small in quantity, means the amount is less as well as the quality is bad. Okay, meager amount of food. Small in quantity and bad in quality. So now the Saint Peter said that you have to live in a small amount of food and you have to spend your day by boring and boring and boring. What is boring? Here boring means to dig. Okay? Have you heard the name borewell? Why it is called borewell? Because it is made by digging. Okay? By digging. It is not natural. All the day in the hard dry wood. You have to do this thing, activities all the day in hard dry wood. What is dry wood? Wood, what do you mean by wood? Trees, yes, trees, forest. Okay. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. Then what happened? When the Saint Peter said this, the old woman was transformed into a bird, a woodpecker, and she flied through the chimney. Okay. She had a scarlet cap on her head, but that was left the same. But all the rest of her clothes were burned black as a coal in the flame. So when Saint Peter said this, she was transformed into a bird, and what happened to her clothes? It burned into ashes. But the cap which she was wearing, the red velvet cap, the red cap, it was still there, and it was on the bird's head. And every country school boy has seen her in the wood, है ना? So what happened? Now she was transformed into a bird, and the school going children has seen her in the wood, है ना? While going to school or while coming from school, they have seen her, where she lives in the trees till this very day, and still now she can be found roaming in the trees, where she lives. How she lives? Boring and boring for food. She searches for food by boring and boring in the wood. Okay? Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.